Mark, thanks. April marks Child Abuse Awareness Month. Over 600,000 children in the U.S. are abused every year. Here to tell us a little bit more about the signs of child abuse is Dr. Tim Perry with Frontier Health. Dr. Perry, thanks for coming back on.
Thank you.
Well, first off, what are some of the signs and symptoms of child abuse?
Well, child abuse falls into 4 categories: sexual abuse, physical abuse, neglect, and emotional abuse. The signs that you can look for, especially for those first categories, is unexplained injuries to a child, bruises, burns, bite marks, poor hygiene, a child coming to school or center that's hungry all the time, that's abnormal, a child that's anxious or fearful about going home, or fearful about talking about parents or about going home, a child that may be overly anxious and nervous all the time, depressed, self-harming behaviors, having problems sleeping, problems eating, maybe making statements about things that are abnormal for a child, over-sexualization for a child for their age development, parents that sometimes make little of an injury or don't have a good reason for that injury or don't explain it very well or evasive, or makes little of a child not having their essentials that they need for child development and for child growth, or a parent that belittles or degrades or is overly disciplinarian in the public. That's the kinds of things you may want to look for, and that could be indications that there could be abuse in the home.
So what can people do if they think that maybe a child they know or have come in contact with is being abused?
First and most important thing is report it. If you suspect that there is abuse, go ahead and report. I don't encourage people to get in the investigation of an abuse to try to determine whether it is or isn't. We have in the Department of Children's Services, the Department of Human Services on the Tennessee and the Virginia side. It's their job to do the investigation, but report it. Even if you think just mildly a suspicion of it, make that report. The other thing, one of the most important ways we can address child abuse is prevention. Prevent it from occurring on the front end is one of the best ways we can address child abuse. And there's things we can do as a community to address child abuse.
And let's talk about how you can prevent it, even if you are just a bystander.
Well, one of the things I think is important for us to do is, one, recognize those signs and symptoms of abuse, the things that we can look for abuse. Be educated about the fact that it can occur in any domain. It doesn't necessarily have to be a certain economic group or a certain geographic area. Abuse occurs everywhere, and it can occur at any stage, in any place. So be mindful of that as a community. Talk about abuse like we're doing now, having these discussions, having open forum so that we're talking about it, so that children feel comfortable being able to tell someone if things are being done at home to them that's not right, that's inappropriate, having those kinds of discussion. One of the most important things is support for parents. Parents many times do not have the support or the skill set they feel they need to be able to deal with all that comes with being a parent. Parenting is a very hard job. Children aren't born with instruction manuals, so especially young parents need support and guidance and encouragement, resources connecting to them. And then a parent may already be dealing with mental health problems before a child is born. How to help that parent get those mental health services for themselves so that they can be the best parent that they can be to their child.
Well, Dr. Perry, important information and of course important things to bring awareness to. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely.
And again, to report child abuse, you can call one of the numbers right there on your screen, depending on the state that you are in. For more information, you can also contact Frontier Health using that information right there on your screen.